Good morning, welcome to Quick and Early Miracles. Today I will be talking about how to use your voice. And when I say that, I mean sharing what's true for you particularly when you think somebody else isn't going to like it. And it would also be sharing maybe at a level that you haven't yet imagined. Oh my God, say what I really think and feel. No, no, impossible. And yet, there's some value to it. Why? Why would you want to share your truth? And good morning. The first one is long term. So when we're looking at not sharing our truth and accommodating another person or an organization, for example, let's say that you have a boss or good morning. Let's say you have a boss or a friend or family member and you're continually appeasing them, meaning you're not asserting what you really want to do, you're not sharing how you really think or feel, and you're doing it for the sake of the relationship. Over time, that strain will accumulate on you and you're not really going to want to be a part of it. And so the point of being in a relationship is compromised when you don't share what's true for you, because it will ultimately pull you or push you away from that place because it doesn't feel good to you. Or it'll create some kind of strain and you'll just eject or burst or do something. Hey. So if you're just joining, what we're talking about today is using your voice. And we're starting with why though? Well, one, the long term, meaning with that, it's just tuning into what's your point in not sharing your truth, and it's kind of counterproductive. The next one is love. When you offer someone what's true for you, you connect with them, not who they think they need to be, not who they think you want them to be, not who they once were, whatever. You connect with them. And that sensation of connection is really what a lot of people are looking for, but without having to share what is true for them, without putting that on the table. Why is it scary to put it on the table? Well, I could take some guesses, and I'll tell you about them since you're here. The one is, if you watch any old sitcom, particularly like if you're in my age bracket, it's a lot about squiggling around telling people what's really going on. And so you take that in and pattern, like this must be how to address information that might be upsetting to someone. I keep it to myself, or we whispered about it on the side. It's like, don't tell Joey, they're all rather, it's not really modeled as a way to approach information. Another is, maybe in your childhood, your little container there, what was modeled for you was not sharing what you really think or feel. And what's so cute about people is we think we can hide. So when you're sitting across from someone and they're telling you something, you can act, and you get trained to do it, you can act like what they're saying is true, but you might know deeply that there's more to it, or that that's not really the whole way true, or they're just saying that to say it, but we go with what is expressed because that's what so cute, that's what we've been trained to do. And yet at all times, most of that information about how someone really feels is available to you. So we so cute and we think like, oh, I just won't tell them I don't like them. Boo, they know. They might not tell themselves yet, but somewhere they know. And to me, love is offering someone information, which is the same as freedom, which is allowing them to make the choice that's correct for them. And so I just said all the information is available to them. And I also said that sometimes we're not aware that it is. And so to me, expressing love is saying like, look, buddy, I care about you enough that I'm going to let you do what's right for you, and here are my cards. It does take a little practice to think that this won't throw you under the bus, but we'll get to that in the protocol. The last one is the plot. Why speak your truth? To move the mofo plot. Otherwise, you get stuck in circles and circles and circles. And we're vessels for life. If life isn't living through you, it's stewing. And that's what causes illness and dissatisfaction, and drama doesn't need to be drama. Let the plot move. Tell them what's up. Okay, so that's my short argument for why it's valuable to speak your truth. This was an area of immense opportunity for me. That means that, 1, I didn't know I wasn't sharing my truth. 2, I didn't know the impact that it had. 3, I didn't know other people were or weren't. 4, I didn't know how to even approach it. It was just sort of like going through the gem tumbler of the spiritual revolution. Did I see that, like, oh, that probably would have been helpful for them, probably would have been helpful for me. Hey, wait, why aren't we all telling each other stuff? Why are we playing these dynamics, these they're like politics, they're like conversational politics. So if it's you, don't be mad or sad, it's okay. You might notice it mostly because you feel stuck in something, or you feel powerless in a dynamic, or you're frustrated that your needs aren't being met. It's possible that they don't even know what they are. And that goes back to, like, this is a tool. Direct communication as a tool is so helpful because it takes a lot of the assumptioning out. There are so many assumptions we have when somebody does something or doesn't do something. What if you asked? Before you ran off on your little high horse, or you ran off under a bridge, like, what if you asked? And what's also real cute about humans is they might not even know. There might be reasons outside. I find that, like, the deeper that you go into yourself, the less that you're you. Good morning. And that means that, like, you would individuate more freely, meaning you're not taking on a character that isn't you, but you're also moving in ways you can't really explain. So the first step in healing your voice, so starting to use your voice more authentically in conversations, is of course it's hard for you. I gave all those reasons why it might be hard. I gave, like, the genesis of it. Your communication is patterned in your friggin' body. It's this thing, this network is all connected to, like, how do we keep her safe? If you associate authentic communication with a threat to your relationships, or thanks for coming out, with your maintaining your relationships or your livelihood or anything, like, no wonder it would be hard to say. And we start here by accepting that this is a difficulty that you have, instead of guilting or shaming you or making you think you could be better, should. No, this is where you're starting. This is great. Say it with me. Of course. And you can use this in any place that you're having trouble. Like, start here. This is where you are. Of course. Why wouldn't I be here? The next one is, And this is asking you, like, what is it that I really want? How do I really feel? Sometimes when you're being approached by an external force, they're saying, do this. Your inclination is to say, like, not that. But if you bring yourself to your center and you ask, like, what is it that I really want? Maybe you're able to sort out or tease out their insistence from your own, their insistence and your resistance, and find, like, maybe you would like to do that. So make space for yourself to really hear what it is that you have to say. Like, what is it that you really think and feel? What do you really want? At first, it's hard to do this if you're not that practiced in it. Some people are great at it. Some people are not. Like, it's okay. Wherever you're starting, you can start with something really small. Like, which way do I want to turn on the sidewalk? What do I want to have for a snack? Which tea do I want to try this time? Like, start small and start to develop this conversation with that sense of, like, desire and your heart. What is it that I want? What do I think and feel? The next one is, and this is where you let things get awkward. So, and starting to use this new skill, authentic conversation, again, you're overcoming a lot of patterning, you're overcoming a lot of fear. You'll likely be awkward as fuck. Let that be okay. When I'm teaching clients how to do this, and when I did it for myself, one of the most helpful tools is to acknowledge you're going to be awkward and uncomfortable. Like, rather than show up to the conversation and be all confident, I'm going to get it all right. Look, I'm ready to talk about it. Be real about it. Hey, buddy, I'm real uncomfortable to have this conversation with you. No, it doesn't make sense. Can't really explain it, but this is where I'm coming from. So you might need to be patient with me while I figure out how to put my words around it. Like, let it be fucking awkward. It will get better. And then the last step is, phew, that wasn't so bad. And that really is what I find, every time you take a step in love, and to me that means you are approximating what is true, growth, aliveness. You're having faith in life that you can do what is correct for you, what is true to you, and you're generally met in a way that's really positive. Phew. With authentic communication, when I'm teaching people it as well, I'm emphasizing people around you likely wish they could do this too. So when you teach other people how to say no by you doing it in a loving, thoughtful way, when you teach other people how to say, this is what I want, through your demonstration, when you're authentically saying, this awkward, I know you're not gonna like it, but here's how I feel, you let it be okay for them, and that ripples. And then the strain that accumulates in relationships that's unnecessary starts to not. So it's really it is uncomfortable, it will take some practice, but it can be kind of fun. And if you find that the other person isn't able to meet you here, phew, great, and you found out that's not a place for you to be, and you can GTFO, The other thing to consider in doing this is a little person laughing. He says, you probably are authentically communicating somewhere, sometime, without even realizing it. I talked a lot yesterday about language, or a good portion of the presentation, about how, when we think about an area of our life, we think about it. But a lot of the areas of our lives that don't have bumps move effortlessly, and yet they contain a lot of the same features. But because we're not thinking about it, we don't apply those words to these places. And so you're not necessarily thinking oh, I have authentic communication with my mom. You're just talking to her. But what you might think is I have a hard time expressing myself at work. And so when you hear I have a hard time expressing myself, you take that, you put a little label on your chest, and you're like, I can't speak my truth. And you wear this and you live this, but it's not the whole way true. You also have a sticker from over here. So this one is just where am I already doing this? And the model that I gave you today would be appropriate for any type of change you want to take on at a habit level, like habits of thought, habits of action, habits of care, habits of love, whatever it is. This is pretty much the model for it. All right, anybody have questions, thoughts, feelings before I roll up today? So what I talked about today was how to use your voice, and I said, it's okay that you're not using it. There are reasons for that. One is modeling at a cultural level or a societal level. One might be you're modeling at home. Maybe the people at home didn't support you at all. Good morning. Nice to see you. And using your voice and actually encouraged you to not. Maybe you had a run-in with a teacher in second grade, and ever since then you were like, everybody, I'm not going to tell you. However you got there, it's okay. In coming to communicate authentically, we looked at why would you want to? Well, the long-term sustainability of the relationship. It gives love. It gives them opportunity to work with what's true. Plot. It moves things forward. And then I said, make sure you look for where you're already authentically communicating, where you're already using your voice, and you just don't notice because it happens so naturally. When you do this in the change process, it makes it so much easier, because then it's not generating something from scratch. You're just picking up something you already got. It's a tool you already have in the shed. You don't have to go to Home Depot and you don't have to research for a while and go to Home Depot and get it. You already got one. So the first step in the process of healing your voice, or coming to express what is true for you, is it's hard. Fuck yeah. Start out here accepting that this is somewhere that it's uncomfortable. You're not bad, wrong, broken, anything, hopeless, nah. Like, duh, this is where you're starting. Why wouldn't you start there? The next one is, allow yourself to really tap into what you think and feel. Ask yourself. This might be part of why you don't speak, because you don't know. And again, there could be a multitude of reasons of how that came to be. It doesn't really matter, except now you can start to be curious about it. What do I want to do tonight? What movie would I like to watch? What is important to me at a value level? How do I like to be talked to? Like, what is it that I want? What is it? What is here for me to communicate? The next one is, let it be awkward when you start to use your voice. Why wouldn't it be? It's a new skill. I suggest starting with places that, they feel lower risk to you. If it's too scary to talk to your boss like that, like, try one of your buddies. Be honest with them about what's really there for you. When I first started, and like the scariest places for me, I'd show up to conversations with like a little presentation. I'd have my notes, and I would know, I'd be scared as fuck to tell them this thing, but it was on my paper. And so I would hold myself to the paper, and it took me a couple of iterations to even be able to do that. And again, like, duh, why wouldn't it? It wasn't safe for me to use my voice. So it took a while for me to for my body to be like, you're gonna be okay. The last step is few. Anticipating it's gonna work out, it'll be fine. It's just some practice. Like, generally when you make these steps, like I said, in some ways it's leadership. You're demonstrating to other people that they can do it too. But it also generally works out pretty well, and you create this positive feedback loop that's like, oh, I want to do that because it's better than the not. And then you don't have to fight yourself. Does anyone have any thoughts or feelings or questions before I close for today? If these are helpful for you, I really like to hear it. It's helpful to me to know. If you're watching them on YouTube, please comment, etc. I do work with people one-on-one, as I was indicating, and we work on things like getting unstuck, taking any kind of leveling up in any place, opening, healing, connecting to themselves, intuition, you name it, anything that takes you back to yourself and your power. You can find information about that on my website. I've been doing it for a while, and I love it. Okay, bye. Thank you, Trina.